Hi, my name's Helen Anderson. I use she, her pronouns, and I work at Fred Hutch Cancer Center, though before my current position as a scientific content liaison, I worked in biotech and studied genetic counseling on the East Coast. Scientific content liaison basically just means that I help to learn about all of the science and research happening at Fred Hutch, and then I communicate, or liaise, that information to the rest of my team. So a lot of what we do at Fred Hutch in my position and within my team is kind of like what happens at the Pacific Science Center, where we help to share the information about science and research with other folks. Sometimes my team and I give lectures or do community presentations with folks throughout the state. And we even do stuff online with Twitch and YouTube. When I think about my career path and the experiences that have led me to where I am, school definitely played a big role. My favorite subject in school was English. I loved reading, I loved writing. But the reason I ultimately studied biology instead of English or Shakespeare in college was because I thought I wanted to be a vet. Biology is the study of life, living things from pets to people, and so veterinarians, who are like doctors for animals, need to know a lot about biology. Over the course of my studies, I also took classes in genetics, which is a special kind of biology that focuses on the study and the science of relationships. What I love about genetics is that it's like a set of riddles where solving the answer helps people. And bioethics, which is the study of right and wrong, specifically in healthcare and medicine. When I got to college and I started taking those classes, I realized that if I could somehow combine my love for genetics, ethics, and English, literature, communication, into one profession, I would never be bored. Ultimately, that's what led me to my current position at Fred Hutch. Fred Hutch's mission is to cure cancer and infectious disease for all. To make that happen, we're going to need everyone's help, including kids. I love that my work at Fred Hutch can help kids and communities feel like there's a place for them in science and healthcare. I like to think of science as a big puzzle that we're all trying to solve together. And who knows, you could be holding the last puzzle piece that allows us to achieve some great scientific or medical goal. And the only way we'll know is if you try. I need a lot of different skills and abilities to do my job, but I think two of the most important skills in any job, including mine, are curiosity and teamwork. Being organized is also really helpful because I'm taking a lot of notes and juggling a lot of different things at once. And so making sure I keep all of that curiosity, all of that science organized is really important. I think the most important thing, though, is teamwork. I think that the best teams are teams where you support one another, and you trust one another, and you share a common goal that matters to all of you. Ideally, you get lucky and you get to have fun along the way. Right now, I'm really excited about the potential of medicine, especially genetics, immunotherapy, and vaccines, to help prevent people from getting sick and help people get better faster if they do get sick. Immunotherapy is our ability to harness the immune system, the part of your body that helps to protect you when you get sick or fight back against infections or diseases, to fight cancer. My mother was actually treated for her breast cancer using immunotherapy, so I'm personally really grateful for this kind of medicine. One of the biggest challenges to my work is that the problems we're trying to solve with science are often really big and complicated and sometimes even a little scary. A lot of people don't like talking about things like cancer or infectious diseases like COVID because it can be really intimidating and scary to think about. And when we're scared or nervous, it's hard to communicate effectively or work on a solution together sometimes. The most important thing to me is that the science is accurate and helpful and that people feel safe learning about it and sharing it with the people in their lives. Now I'm going to answer some questions from students who had a recent field trip at Pacific Science Center. Aubrey in 4th grade asks, why don't kitten siblings look the same as people siblings? That's such a fun question, and there are a couple different answers. The first answer is that maybe we just think kitten siblings look more different than people siblings because we're not cats. Maybe to other cats, kitten siblings look as similar as people siblings do. The other answer is that sometimes kittens in the same litter can have different biological parents. The reason that matters is because depending on what biological parents we have, we might have different genes. Genes are made of DNA, and they're basically just the instruction manual for how our bodies work. So some of our genes tell our bodies how to look, hair color and eye color, and other genes tell our bodies how to work or function. So they tell your heart how to beat and your muscles how to move. And depending on the combination of genes and DNA they have, they're going to look and behave differently. Next, we have a question from Salem, who is in 4th grade, and asks, how does studying flies or worms help us understand how to treat human diseases? The reason studying flies and worms is helpful is because their DNA is actually more similar to ours than we might think by just looking at them. And so we can study the genes in flies and worms and learn about how those genes, or very similar genes, work in us without actually having to study people. Also, they have shorter lifespans. So over a series of months or years, scientists can study many, many generations and learn how those genes might get passed down from, mama worm to baby worm over many generations, and explore how those genes might change over time, which can give us information about how those same genes might function or change in human beings. Isamu in 4th grade asks, how long do genetics get shared? This is such a great question. Genetics, which are like the molecular instructions for the human body, get passed down from generation to generation. So your biological grandparents passed their genes down to your parents, who passed their genes down to you. So your genes get shared many, many generations. However, sometimes the genetic information can change between generations. Also, when people decide to have biological kids together, they mix their genetics together, which can also change them over time. Aditya in 2nd grade asks, do you make medicine for people? I don't make medicine for people personally, but the scientists and doctors at Fred Hutch do. The scientists and doctors at Fred Hutch are doing a lot of research on how we can make medicines better and help treat people for cancer, infectious disease, and other health problems most efficiently. They also create brand new medicines for these diseases. We use a special kind of medicine at Fred Hutch that's called precision oncology. Precision oncology means that we use a person's genetic information to help pick the right medicine for them and help them get better in a way that is most effective and efficient for them and their disease. If you're interested in working in a lab as a research scientist, with patients as a genetic counselor or other healthcare provider, or in science education or communication or philanthropy as a scientific content liaison, I would say the most important thing is to believe in yourself and trust your abilities. Work hard, but don't be afraid to ask for help. And make sure to take care of yourself and your relationships, because people are really important in work and in life. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about all of the work at Fred Hutch. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to click the link in the description below. Until next time, stay curious.